The day 5, Edwards concept of manual therapy, combined movements, assessment and treatment. First section, we'll see the hip. Next section, when we shift the camera, okay, we move on to the next, we'll go to the knee and then also to the foot and ankle. Okay, so we're going to see 15 minutes to 20 minutes each. For the hip, standing, open kinematic combined and closed kinematic combined. There are two major combined directions. Basically, they are the diagonal directions. Okay. So if you have hip flexion, that is forward, flexion, adduction, and internal rotation. Okay. This is a skeletal close packed position, bony, articular, acetabulum, and the femoral head, maximum compressed. Okay. Only the posterior side is open. The acetabulum has a notch, acetabular notch. So that comes exactly posterior direction that time. And then the other direction is extension, abduction. Okay, so you're going to take the leg backwards. After that, you take it sideways, extension and abduction, and external rotation of the leg. Okay, which is called as the ligamentous close packed position. That means the close packed position is achieved because of stretch of the ligaments, especially iliofemoral and pubofemoral, the anterior group, which is the strongest ligaments in the hip. Otherwise, you can say flexion, abduction, external rotation. Okay, that is another combination of the direction. That is the D2 pattern. Okay. Previously, I was telling you the D1 pattern, the extremes, the combination. I think now you'll get a clue that, oh, okay, are these combined movements the same in the PNF? Okay, proprioceptive neuromuscular facility. Absolutely right. Okay, the active combined movements is the nothing but the PNF, active assisted, assisted resisted. Okay, we are thinking about reciprocal inhibition that is called as a slow reversal, agonist reversals. Okay, so remember that there are a lot of overlap between concepts from different people, different countries. Okay, so remember the flexion, abduction, external rotation is one, and then extension, adduction, and internal rotation. So extension, adduction, internal rotation, that is another direction. Okay, so we have 4 quadrants. These 4 quadrants I'll demonstrate with our Gautam lying down on the bed. First I will show passive so that you also will understand these movements. Okay, and it will enable that Gautam also understands the movements so that in standing he will not be going. Okay, I tell right side, he does forward. Okay, so this thing he should not do. So that's the only thing. So make him to lie down. Wait. When the subject is lying down, remember, I'm just moving the camera. Okay. Yes. So now he is neutral, making him to shift towards closer to me. Okay. And from here, remember, always you flex the hip. Okay. This is the flexion of the hip. You always flex with the knee flexion because that is the physiological and functional direction when you are thinking about regional interdependence. Okay. And then flexion is there. Flexion, adduction, that is towards the opposite shoulder. And then from here you can see the tendency is the external rotation. Okay, it's already external rotated. So I have to do internal rotation of the hip. Okay. So that means flexion, adduction, internal rotation of the hip. Okay. So I maintain the same with my forearm, the elbow controlling the internal rotation. Okay, here. And then I do this. Okay. I can give a compression, posterior direction to check for the instability. Okay. If there is the dislocation there. So that is the flexion, adduction, internal rotation. And the next one is other flexion is abduction, external rotation. That is figure of 4, the Faber's position, flexion, abduction, okay, abduction, external rotation. Okay. So that is the flexion, abduction, external rotation. In this position, if I am keeping here, keeping my elbow on the knee, hold the opposite side pelvis, take it slowly like this. Okay. It actually checks the hip joint. If I do quickly, it checks the sacroiliac joint, the same side, left side. Okay. So this is the two combinations in flexion. For extension, I will show you in the prone position. Okay. So turn. Fully keep the hand for the head. Okay. And then you can support the legs with the pillow. Remember, when subject is supine, the pillow is for the head. When the subject is prone, pillow is for the leg. Okay. So once you have decided or hypothesized that you are going to check extension, abduction, and then the combination, the external rotation. Okay. So that I am demonstrating here. Okay. So hold it. Always remember, when you extend the hip, knee has to be extended. Okay. If you flex, rectus femoris tightness will limit the range, passive insufficiency. Okay. So active also can be done. I am demonstrating passive here. Subject should be taught to make the movements in combination, and you can check the active. Okay. So always remember that, understand the combinations, then you can ask the subject to do active. Okay, as I was demonstrating the combination. Okay. The same way subject also can do that, either in supine or prone or in standing. The difference is, here trunk is relaxed, opposite side is relaxed. In standing, opposite side hip abductors will work. Trunk stability, core stability, okay, extra. And if you are making the subject to stand on foam, stand on wobble board, and then do the leg combined movements, okay, what happens is dynamic balance training also happens. Okay. So you can do multiple treatments at one thought. Okay. You can go and create your techniques. The next thing, of course, when I am extending and abducting, I stand on the side that is treated. So what I'll do is, I'll extend, abduct. Okay. So I have reached the position. How much to extend and abduct depends upon where I am getting the restriction. Okay. Or where I am getting the discomfort. Okay. So that is the range. If it is not, then take the full range. Whether I will add extension first or abduction first, again, which one is important in the symptom presentation. Okay. So then I decide that which should be the first combination. Okay. Otherwise, I can add abduction first, then go to extension also. Same way I am reaching the same position only. Once I have reached this position, interchange the hand, because I have to do the external rotation. So hold the foot. Just allow me to shift him a little bit to the inside, so that his foot will be visible on the camera. Okay. So I hold, relax, okay. Extend, abduct, hold it, okay, and then externally rotate. Okay. So this is the combination, or I can start with the external rotation, okay, here, and then hold the leg. After that, extension. After that, abduction. So I can add in different sequence. Okay. The same one, if I am giving active, okay, asking him to lift the leg backwards, not bend the leg, it is lift the leg, lift the leg. Okay. So it creates a hip extension. Okay. With the knee in extension. This is hamstrings. Okay. Next thing is, I am asking him to abduct to the side, outside. Take it outside. Okay. With the leg in the air only. People who have poor motor control will press on the opposite side to the plinth. Okay. If they have good motor control, they will lift it with this leg. Otherwise, they will use the contralateral abdominal also. Okay. So up, maintain it up. Okay. Don't bend the knee. Straight. Okay. Keep it up. Okay. If he is not able to do, endurance poor, you have to train. Okay. Because open kinematic only, the strength is not there, then closed kinematic, how it will work. Okay. So always remember extension and abductors and external rotator strengthening. It's very important in patellofemoral pain and ONE. All problems of the hip, extensor, abductor, external rotator strengthening. The standalone treatment. Okay. When there is acute inflammation in the knee, you cannot give any exercises to the quadriceps. Just give the hip strengthening. But the combination is there. The same combined direction. Okay. Active one. Passive, you can do that, no problem. You can mobilize any of the movement in that end range. Okay. I can mobilize from here. I can mobilize the extension. I can mobilize the abduction. Okay. Or I can mobilize the external rotation. Okay. So as per the direction and the sequencing of treatment. Next one is extension adduction direction. We saw flexion, abduction, external rotation. The opposite one, D2 extension. That is what we have is extension, adduction, internal rotation. So I'm going to resume. So if I have to do the extension adduction combination, I should stand on the opposite side. So here for convenience, I'm demonstrating on the opposite side. Okay. So here again, he comes towards closer to the therapist. Here adduction, always it is not going to cross the opposite leg. Okay, till the opposite leg only you are going to take the adduction. Don't go for maximum because adduction range is not a functional one. Okay, in people who have coxa vara, the adduction range will be more. Okay, so there are a lot of things. Internal rotation can be more in anti-inversion, which I have explained in physical examination. Also in differentiation, when you are extending the hip, you have to flex the knee and see. Okay, for hamstrings and also for rectus femoris. So a lot of things can be combined in every position. Okay, so remember that. Don't forget the other concepts. Okay, as you are learning Edwards. Okay, for the extension and adduction and internal rotation. So here, lifting the leg back. Okay, that is extension. If it is actively possible. Okay, so if it is not possible, then I'm going to do assisted. After that is adduction. Okay, so I've added extension and adduction. Maintain. Okay. Once you have maintained, okay, you can either support like this, okay, and then you have to do the internal rotation. That is turning the leg towards the other leg. Okay, so extension, adduction, internal rotation. I can do the reverse sequence here itself. Do the external rotation. Okay, internal rotation. After that, you do the extension, then you do the adduction. Okay, or do the adduction. Okay, do the adduction, internal rotation, then extension. Okay, so any of the 6 combinations, again, it's again advisable. You can do this is a controlled position, the open kinematic chain, when we are holding it. Okay, closed kinematic chain with the subject standing, and you want to do that, you can do it on the stool, or you can do as squatting. Okay, which I'll demonstrate now when we relocate this camera. So here again, standing, first hip flexion. Remember that some subjects have symptoms on full squatting and they are fully sitting on the ground. That means you have to do the full squatting. Okay, I am demonstrating the mid range. Okay, and I am selecting a stool which is appropriate to the range of the hip flexion. Okay, so always remember that if the height adjustable stool is there, it's much better. Okay, so next is I ask the patient to lift the leg, hip with the knee flexion, hip and knee flexion. Then the range that is available, I support it there on the stool. Okay. Once it is supported, okay, I will ask the subject to take the knee to the right side. Okay, for his right side, it becomes abduction. Okay, so first was flexion, next is abduction, and then I ask him to keep the foot little bit to the midline and then do this. What happens is flexion, abduction, external rotation. Okay, and once this position is kept, the knee has to be controlled. It has to be maintained there because I am assessing the motor control. Active movement combination means. So here what I will tell is, ask him to bend forwards. Bending forwards is not towards the knee. He will bend straight. Okay. Here what has happened? Flexion, abduction, external rotation. Okay. Because body is coming closer to the pelvis. Okay. So here flexion, abduction, external rotation. Okay. And if I want a flexion, adduction, internal rotation, I will do the opposite direction. That is, keep the foot here on the stool. This is flexion as it was before. I want an adduction. Okay. So what I have to do? Ask him to place the foot. Yes, absolutely right. Okay. So see the magic of Gautam. Okay. So flexion, adduction, internal rotation. Okay. Exactly, it has come. Clear? Once it has come, then I will tell him that bring the left shoulder to the right knee. Okay. Come back. Okay. Left shoulder to the right knee. So what has happened? Hip flexion, adduction, internal rotation is done. Okay. And you can see here the leg sit that clearly demonstrated in this position because foot is pronated, valgus, knee flexion moment, okay, adduction of the hip with internal rotation, okay, kinetic chain, internal rotation, kinetic chain, especially the aggravated position it is, okay. This is what I was telling yesterday, that when you have this Edwards in combination, we'll be actually checking the leg sit, the lower extremity kinetic and kinematic chain integration techniques. Okay. So people who are interested can take those videos and then improve your knowledge upon that. Okay. Whenever you're treating hip, knee, ankle, you can't treat regionally. You have to treat together. Okay. Then only functional activities like standing, walking, stair climbing, running, jumping, squatting, sit to stand, everything will be symptom free. Okay. So flexion direction I have shown. Now next is the extension direction, where I will predominantly use, this is like a partial weight bearing. Okay, I'm taking the leg and then I'm keeping on the stool. But if you want a full weight bearing, it has to be squatting. Okay, and that squatting will be like more, like for example, I make him to come on the stool. Okay, so he stands like a good boy. Okay, right leg, the same leg, I want to increase the loading in combination. Okay, so what I have to do is keep the knee bent, squat. Okay, once he had squatted, take support either on the bed, little more squat. Okay, so he squatted, then I will ask him to keep the left leg down. Okay, and at the same time, left shoulder to the right knee. Okay, come back. Okay, okay, come back. So this same one I can do as descent. Okay, that is from the top, okay, backwards. So that means more loading and then you are reducing. You can do that for non-irritable. Highly irritable, start from 0 and then go into flexion. Okay, and highly irritable I'll prefer most in the supine or the prone. Okay, for the relief direction. I will not do the combined in the weight bearing. Okay. So once I have done this, remember, even for the knee, it is the same position. So I will resume the camera for the techniques for the knee. So Edwards concept of manual therapy, knee joint. Subject stands. If you want to involve a minimal amount of loading, ask the subject to, from the standing, to keep the knee flexed with the hip flexion on the stool. Okay. Depending on the knee range, knee flexion range, you can keep the height adjustable stool. We should have a fixed base of support or on a rough carpet. Okay. Because the stool, if it slips, when he is trying to do the coming up, okay, ascent like a stairs or lunging forward, during that the stool should not slip. Okay. So remember, so knee flexion is there now around 95 to 100 degrees. Okay, so I have kept here, and I'm giving a partial loading. Okay, I'm not given the full loading. If I'm giving full loading, I'll start with the subject on the stool, then I will come back. Okay, the other leg will go down. Okay. So now in this position, flexion is there. If I have to increase the internal or external rotation of the tibia, okay. Remember, in flexion, the combination is internal rotation always, because internal rotation is the unlocking the tibia. So flexion, internal rotation is a combination, and valgus force is a combination. Okay. So again, so you might abduct the tibia, so that will become valgus. Internal rotation of the tibia with the flexion. Okay, and you can also give the medial glide, okay, to the tibia. What I am trying to tell as a combination is only a pathomechanical combination, but it does not mean that you should not give the lateral glide. Okay, you can give the medial glide and lateral glide. You have to check both. Which one is actually restricted? Add that combination, because here we are seeing non-irritable situation. So we are adding the progressive provocation. So what are the components? Either flexion or extension of the knee, either internal or external rotation of tibia, and then next is valgus or varus of the tibia, and last is medial or lateral glide of the tibia. Okay. I can also do anteroposterior glides, but those are predominantly for ligament instabilities and laxities. Okay, not for intra-articular stiffness, and you are mobilizing in the end range, or even plica syndrome or impingement syndrome. All of them will indicate a combined movements, okay, as a mobilization. Okay. So here again, weight bearing, knee is flexed. I can do the tibial rotation by turning the foot inwards. Okay, so tibia is rotated in. Okay, knee joint. If I have to create the valgus, I will allow the knee to go like this, so that the valgus is created. Okay, and once the valgus is created, internal rotation is there, knee flexion is there. Okay, then I can block the femur using my hand, the here left hand, and from the lateral hand, I can give the medial glide. Okay, and again remember, internal rotation is there. Okay, with the internal rotation and the valgus force. Okay, knee is flexed. From here, if I am doing anterior translation, okay, so block the femur, give the anterior translation. So internal rotation and the anterior translation. So I am checking anterolateral instability. And then next one, in the same position, I give a posterior glide to the tibia. So that checks the posteromedial instability. Okay. And then the next one, of course, external rotation combination. So take the foot outside. Okay. And once you have kept it outside, externally rotated, automatically you will see the varus component is coming. Okay, the knee is going outside. Okay, knee is flexed. And then what you can do now with the varus component is to add, if it is OA knee, you will give the medial glide. Okay, to correct the varus. Okay, you will not do the varus. Okay, so you will not provoke that. But if it is patellofemoral pain, it is valgus is there, so you have to do the varus. Okay, so this direction will be useful for patellofemoral pain. The other direction what we did is useful for OA knee. Okay, in a pattern recognition perspective. Don't take it as a shortcut and don't try to do that at first time. Okay, always you have to assess both the directions. Okay, whichever is restricted, that only you have to add in combination. Okay, so here again, and then I can add the typically this direction I have to give the lateral glide. Okay, but if the patient is OA knee, I will give medial glide. Okay, so always remember, in this position, external rotation and knee flexion, if I am doing anterior translation, okay, that will create anteromedial instability, ACL, MCL, okay, or medial meniscus. And the next one, the same external rotation and knee flexion, if I am giving posterior translation, okay, posterior translation, I am pushing, it will create for posterolateral instability. That is PCL with ligaments of Humphrey-Risberg, arcuate popliteal, oblique popliteal, or lateral meniscus, or lateral collateral. Okay. So always remember, the combinations in flexion are for the ligaments. If you are trying to do for the combinations for the extension, it is predominantly tibiofemoral compression. Okay. and patellofemoral is correction. In flexion, patellofemoral will always go abnormal. Okay, it will go lateral. The tendency is there. So always remember that laterally you have to keep your finger so that the patella tracking will not become abnormal. Okay, you don't have to push the patella medially, but if you see that patella position is wrong, you have to correct the medial glide. Okay, or put a rigid tape, McConnell tape, or Kineso tape even if you want to re-educate the VMO, and then do the knee combined movements. Okay. The next one, for extension, I will ask Gautam to actually climb the stool. Okay. On the stool. Okay. I'm demonstrating on the left leg. Okay, that is closer to me. So what he's going to do now is extension, external rotation. So I will ask him to turn the foot outwards, keep the knee in the front. Okay, knee should be in the front. The patella should face in the front. If patella faces laterally, it is hip external rotation. Patella faces anterior, foot faces laterally, tibial external rotation. Okay, so always remember as much as possible. So patella is facing both are anterior and this is external rotated. Okay, in this position, sometimes some patients might have hyperextension of the knee. Okay, it is the knee will be behind. So that patients don't do this technique. It obviously shows that they have a laxity or hypermobility or instability, that spectrum. So don't need to overload in extension. Okay. So external rotation and extension is there. In this position, I block the knee, okay, in order to give a overpressure. And this position, external rotation, creates the varus. So I can give a varus force here, okay, and then I block the femur to produce what is called as the extended position. I maintain like this. And then in this position, I am maintaining, I'll ask him to keep the right leg down. Okay, attempt, come back, again come back. Don't flex, don't go down fully. Okay, just what you will do in standing is like this. Okay, just take it, come back. Okay, so here again, I repeat external rotation of the tibia, patella facing anterior. Okay, then what I do, a varus force. I do the hyperextension force. Okay, by pushing the femur from the anterior side. Ask him to just take the leg behind, come back. Take the leg backwards, come back. Straight. Okay, no need to go down. Okay, so take the leg, right leg back, come back. Okay, again, take it and come back. Okay, so that means it gives an end range contraction, and it is like external rotation and lunging also. Like for VMO, if you are giving like a little bit of squatting for VMO facilitation, you will do the toe out and then lunging. So there I will tell him to come down from the stool. The other leg can go a little more down. Or you are keeping like steps, okay, so that the right leg can come only slightly. The weight bearing leg will only flex till 30-35 degrees. Okay, it will not flex more than that. Okay, so if we here, the leg will bend to 100 degrees. Okay, if I'm asking him to go down. Okay, so it is good actually for squatting. Here again, it's the same position which we are going to resume now for the ankle. So I'll resume the camera and demonstrate for the ankle. Concept of manual therapy for the foot and ankle. I'm starting with the closed kinematic chain demonstration, as it was as a continuation from the knee. Not to confuse Gautam too much. Okay, so I am doing this combination as in that same position. Otherwise, I make him to supine and then again get him here. I'll tell him take it forwards, he'll take sideways. Okay, so always remember this can happen to all of us. Okay, the proprioception alters with fatigue, whether physical fatigue or mental fatigue. Okay, so both the things will alter the proprioception. So we won't know which position our joints are. That's why we go to abnormal posture and we become a patient for the physical therapist. Okay, so but we never go to another physical therapist because we know they don't know anything. How you know they don't know anything? Because you never shared your knowledge with anybody. Okay, so if you are sharing with others knowledge and you are members of AOMPT, you can blindly go to other therapists for treatment. Okay, so remember now what is important here? Squatting, because ankle has to be loaded. Maximally means always you need squatting, especially dorsiflexion. You want to load. Okay. So you have to do the squatting. So ask him to squat. Okay. As much as possible, taking support. Okay. And going down full. Okay. The heel should be on the stool. Okay. As much as possible. Check the dorsiflexion range. Come back. Because he was taking support, because he is conscious that he is standing on the stool. The same thing if he is standing on the plinth, as I was demonstrating for foot and ankle differentiation. Okay. The previous package. Okay. So there I did making Gautam to stand on the plinth itself, and then I was doing the squatting. Okay. The closed kinematic chain. So here again, remember, if I keep the foot outside, it becomes dorsiflexion, okay, with abduction. Okay. And again, when dorsiflexion and abduction of the forefoot is there, okay, I can do the wedge. I can keep the wedge medially, or I can keep the wedge laterally. Okay, in order to create inversion versus eversion. Okay, if you want an active one, tell him to do what is called as the outer side, the foot should be up. Okay, so that means little toe up, great toe should be down. Okay, so that means eversion is already there because little toe is up. External rotation is there. Okay, because I have kept the foot outside, forefoot abduction is also added. Okay, and then in this position, if I ask him to squat, okay, and come back, okay, I am testing only the left side now. Right side is normal side. Okay, so I am asking him to squat, maintain that. Now he is in dorsiflexion of the ankle, forefoot abduction, and external rotation of tibia. Okay, with the eversion. Okay, relax the foot. So you can check functionally. This is peroneal because active eversion was there. So as our whichever component you are using active, that muscle you are going to check. Okay. If you are keeping a wedge, laterally I have kept the wedge, peroneal will not work. Okay. But I ask him to maintain the foot bent only. That means dorsiflexors will be working. Okay, active. As I am making him to do movements, it is isotonic. Okay, as part of movements. But if I'm maintaining the position, it becomes isometric. Okay? So I can do different options, okay, to contract and try to elicit the symptoms in non-irritable subjects. I can also combine with a glide also. Okay, I can do MWM. I can give a, for example, the same position, foot is straight, here outside, okay, and turn it, okay, inward, everted, and then I ask him to squat. Okay, in the squatting position, okay, in the squatting position, hold the tibia, hold the talus, give the talus posterior glide. Okay, so I can give the talus posterior glide as end range mobilization as I was showing, or I can also do as MWM. Come back, standing, again squat, stand, again squat, stand, again squat, stand. Okay, then it becomes mobilization with movement. Okay, so I'm incorporating the glides as part of the combined movements. Plantar flexion combination, it is the plantar flexion adduction inversion. Okay, that is the combination here. This is a pronation, the combined movement, okay, in the forefoot and the rear foot. But if you want to check the supination, it is the plantar flexion inversion adduction, the combination direction. Okay, it's also useful for the lateral collateral ligament laxity. Okay, so if you do this, the symptom can come from the dorsiflexion direction, dorsiflexion eversion, forefoot abduction. The symptom can be reproduced from inferior tibiofibular joint also. Okay, the syndesmosis that will maximally be distracted, dorsiflexion eversion. Also tibial nerve symptom, dorsiflexion eversion. Okay, so always remember, whenever you are talking about any kind of movement, bring that differentiation concept. Okay, and then see that if you maintain the position, it becomes isometric for the muscle. Okay, if you are maintaining in a articular loaded position, it is intra-articular. Okay, so always give the glides in any position that is intra-articular. Okay, if you have ruled out the intra-articular by weight bearing and non-weight bearing, you can do the glides for the ligament laxity. Okay. Otherwise, the glides will denote synovial fluid. Okay. So if symptom is aggravating with closed kinematic, weight bearing, not in the open, that means intra-articular. Okay, because there is articular surfaces are getting compressed. So the next one is plantar flexion inversion. That is something which is tricky because I have to keep a wedge under the heel. Okay, it's similar to what is called as wearing a high heels. Okay, footwear, and then in the high heels footwear you are doing an inversion and adduction. Okay, something like that. So I need a triangular block, most of which I don't have such a block now. Okay, so if I'm keeping under the heel, it is going to go into plantar flexion. Okay, so the same thing I am going to mimic now by asking Gautam to stand on the toes. Okay, it becomes a plantar flexion. Okay, and take the inner side of the toes, foot, wait. Inner side of the foot, twisting like this. Okay, yeah. One side alone you can do. Other side just maintain. So this is plantar flexion and inversion had happened. Okay, in this. And I can hold the rear foot, give the adduction force. Okay, to the forefoot. And you can see here, hallux valgus will also come together. Okay, so because the great toe, the tip only is weight bearing here. Okay, so that again is a combination. So this is adduction, and then I hold like this. Okay, now I ask him to go into toes in the other leg also. On the toes. Same way, same. No. Simple. Yeah. Okay, so I maintain. Come back. Okay, again go up. So what is happening here? Knee is extending, maximum weight bearing is coming here. And the next one is come back, other side alone. Now he has to do more aggravated one, more extensive loading. Do not try this at home. Okay, take best support, hold my shoulder. Okay, I want you to lift the right knee, bend the leg backward, right side. No, wait. Only this backwards, bend the knee. Take support, nice, good support on knee. Bend the knee, bend the leg. Bend it, keep it bent. Okay. So here also, again, I am maintaining all the components and I am asking him to do a unilateral squat. Okay, the unilateral squat is with the plantar flexion I am asking him to do. Okay, so he is on the toes and then he is doing the unipedal stance and squat. Okay, on the tested side. So that is the thing which is important here, and you can increase the load or reduce the load depending upon the history, presentation. Athletes, you will increase the load, okay, as much as possible. Then only you will have the best symptom provocation that will guide the treatment techniques. In plantar flexion, again, anterior glide of talus will be important. Medial glide of the calcaneum will be important. Okay, and navicular superior, cuboid plantar glide, okay, towards the floor. All these are biomechanical. Okay, the direction of the movement you are giving the bones, and you are going to achieve the combined positions, mobilizations. And if you want to give contractions, yes, you can again give. If you maintain the position itself, it will be isometric contraction. If patient is having poor control of the hip or the core muscles, give that core stability, then you do this unipedal stance on the toes, okay, so that plantar flexion, inversion, okay, and adduction of the forefoot, which is called as the supination, triplanar movement in the foot. Okay, so here I am showing weight bearing, which is closed kinematic. Open one is regular to the same combination of movements what we actually do in our physical examination. Okay, so directly we move the foot inwards, and then we can do the controlled movements, because tibia we can stabilize, we can move the foot very easily. But closed is the one which is more challenging, more stabilization, more reassurance, more pelvis and core motor control to be better, okay, balance to be better, then you do that. Otherwise, you do bilateral, as I was showing that other leg alone, he will go on the toes and come back. He will not lift the knee, okay, bend the leg, flex the knee, okay, but he will do only the standing on the toes. other side. So same way, I'm just increasing the load. Okay, I'm trying to project how well we can apply. So we're ready to close the session now when we start the camera after the interactive question and answer session.